adventurers, it's Rachel and welcome back to Looking for Adventure Art, and today we have a super quick, easy video for you, but it is a really fun, important one, and this is how to change a nib on a fountain pen. I have been purchasing some extra nibs that I can play with, and I have had to learn how to change them out, and I think it is important that you guys know how to do it. But if you happen to be new here, think about hitting that subscribe button down below for more awesome tutorial videos. And I'm not going to waste any time, so let's jump on it and let's get started. So I am going to show you today how to switch out the nib on two of my fountain pens. You're going to want to do this ideally when there is no ink in them. So I have already taken all the ink out. They are nice and cleaned, and I am then going to ink them up after I do this. Now, the nib that I am going to actually be changing out today, and there's two different ways to do it. It kind of depends on the nib and the brand of nib on your pen. But on my Lamy, they have this cute little nib, and currently I have a 1.5mm stub that I was demonstrating back during the Calligraphy 101 video, but I want to change it back to my regular broad nib. This is a lot of fun to use, but I like to use this for my everyday writing, so I want to put my broad nib back on it. Now, Lamy makes this super easy because you can see it has these two little grips that kind of wrap around here, and so they're really easy to slide on and off without having to take it out of the feed or any of that crazy stuff. So I can actually use my fingers for this because it's so easy, but most of the other pens, when I need to change nibs out, I can't use my fingers, and that's where this little awesome guy comes in that I will talk about very soon. I really love Lamy's pens because they have a really easy nib to change out. Now, normally I don't even need to use this little guy, which is the Goulet Grip, which I will talk to and show you in a second. Normally I can just take it, hold it firmly, and pull the nib straight off with my fingers. You never want to grab the nib by the tines up here. You don't want to ever do that because you can misalign them, you can spring them, be a big old giant mess, and you don't want to do that. But I do like that their nibs just wrap around and grip on here, so you can slide them on and off without having to mess with or move the feed at all on your fountain pen. So because I have my 1.5mm stub on here and I want to change it back to my broad nib because that is what I like to write with on a daily basis, I am just going to take my Goulet Grip because I find that my hands have trouble gripping onto the back end. Ends up being very slippery, and I have very small fingers, so I don't get a very good grip. So this is very helpful, and I'm just going to hold the pen with my Goulet Grip on one side, wrap it around, keeping it toward the back of the nib, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to pull firmly. There we go, just like that. So all you had to do was be nice and firm. Pops right off. This Goulet Grip helps a lot, and then I can set this in a safe place and set this aside. Now, to put the new nib on, all you're going to take is, you can see that they have the little pieces that wrap around right here, and there are little slits right here that are going to feed into that. So hold your pen upside down. You can tell that this is the curve, so this is the top of your pen. And Lamy makes it really easy with this All-Star because of the grip. So the rounded underside is the underside of your pen. And I'm going to hold my nib, and I'm just going to line it up, and I'm going to slowly and gently push that on until it's nice and secure. You want to make sure, now this isn't so much a problem with these Lamy pens because it is really easy to just slide them on, but with the next pen that I am going to show you here, you want to make sure that the feed is perfectly center in between that nib, because it's off to one side or the other, you're gonna have problems with your ink flow. Now, a little hack for some pens as well that you might want to take into consideration is some of them you can actually choose how far up or how far down you can put the nib based on the feed. So you might be able to put your feed up a little bit higher on the nib or down a little bit farther, and that will also help with your ink flow. It might let a little more ink in or a little less ink in, but you can't necessarily do that for every pen. Now with this Jinhao pen, I want to keep the nib on that I currently have. This is the original stock nib that came with the Jinhao X750, but I really didn't like it, so I swapped it out for a Goulet No. 6 Broad Nib in black, and I think that it looks way sleeker with the black nib than it does with the standard silver nib. But I'm going to show you. This is a little bit more like a regular pen that you will see. You can see more than the feed here. And there is the nib. And these will pull out together. Now, sometimes you can pull out the nib without having to pull out the feed. Other times you got to pull out both. You can also pull out both if you really want a nice thorough cleaning on your pen, especially if you had some shimmering inks. So that is something to keep in mind. You don't just have to flush the pen with your nib and your feed in it. You can take them out and clean them all separately. I am once again just going to wrap my Goulet grip around this, and I'm going to grab firmly, making sure that I'm not grabbing the tines, and I'm going to pull that out. And this is what an actual feed looks like. I haven't really gotten to show you in any video yet. There are a lot of slits going around here, along with having this piece that then goes up and will hang on to the ink. And then this is your nib. So when you want to put a new nib on, we'll just pretend that this is a new nib. You're going to take your feed, and there is a right way and a wrong way. And as you can see again, this is rounded. And here it kind of then goes flat on a diagonal. So you're going to take the rounded top that's going to match up with the rounded part of your pen and your nib. And you're going to line that up, and you're going to position that where you want it. Now this is where I say some pens you can push a little bit farther back to let a little more ink in, or you can push up just a little bit more. But for the most part, there is a proper position for this. So I'm just going to put that center right about there. And then I am going to slip this into my pen. Now nibs and feeds go into pens a lot of times a very specific way. There is a flat bottom here on the underside of the nib, and then the top is rounded. And so if you look into your pen, like I can see it's right along this bottom edge here, there is a flat piece, and that is what the bottom of your pen is going to go in. So you really want to take a look at your pen here, and you want to put it in the proper way. You don't want to have that flat area anywhere but on the bottom of your nib. Make sure these are lined up. Take a look at your pen, line up your feed, and then all you're going to do is just slowly push that in. You can use the Goulet grip as well for this, and you'll feel if you just give a nice firm press, you don't want to shove it or anything like that, but if you give a nice firm press, you can see that this is all sitting in securely, and it is now ready to write. This was a super simple, easy video today, but I hope that it gave you some insight in changing your nibs out, because I know that it can be a lot of fun. Not every brand you can change out the nibs. I know that my Pilot Metropolitan, the nib that you buy on this pen, is the nib that you get. So you don't get to change that out. But for a good beginner starter pen, I really love the Lamy pens because you can change the nibs out for a lot of different sizes, even though you have to stay with the Lamy brand. They have a ton from, I think, extra fine, maybe only fine, but I think extra fine all the way up to a 1.5 or 1.9 millimeter stub. So that's really, really great. Absolutely love it. This is really easy, and definitely I recommend getting a Goulet grip. So that is it for this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it helpful. But before we go, I do have one last question for you, and that is our question of the day. My question of the day for all of you is, what is your favorite nib size? Mine is personally a broad nib, though I do love the extra fine nib on my Keras Customs. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite nib size is, and if you don't have a fountain pen, let me know what you think your favorite nib size might be. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for all the daily updates. And if you happen to be following along with my calligraphy series, or if you happen to make anything on my channel, feel free to email me or tag me on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever kind of social media-ness that you do, because I want to see it. And every day is a new adventure, so come back next time for a new adventure with us.